Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. On today's episode, we're going to talk about something I think might be a little concerning, and that's the very swift drop-off in price we've seen in Shining Fates. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand this is a new set. The hype for this set was definitely there before the release, and if you've tried to pick up Shining Fates at retail, I'm sure you understand the struggle that's been and how quickly this product has just evaporated from all store shelves. When it comes to sealed product, we're still seeing the prices hold pretty strong for, such a new product. Now you got to keep in mind a few things. One, we're just on wave 1 of Shining Fates release. Number 2, the Pikachu V-Box, anytime you have a Pikachu as a promo, that's always going to carry a premium with it. And then the Elite Trainers box, there was so much hype built up around that. Plus, you can't ignore the fact that there's the EVV Max in there, which is a very desirable card. But with that said, the rest of the cards in the set, we're not seeing like super strong value in the prices of the actual individual cards. And I've said it before, at the end of the day, sets will only be worth what the cards in the set are worth. Yeah, sealed product prices could only go so far. I think the biggest problem with this set, and you guys could tell me down in the comments if you think I'm wrong, but my fear is with this set that the pull rates have just been so good and people are pulling so many cards. And I struggle with the fact that people are pulling a lot of cards because you're going to ask yourself, well, what do you want? Do you want cards to be impossible to pull? And the answer really to that is no. And don't get me wrong, this is a very large set and it has a very large subset, especially with the 122 Shining Vault cards. That is a lot of cards in order to complete your master set. And, especially how many, I think there's 8 full art trainers in there, one of them being the Skylar. Yeah, great cards. Then you have all your shiny VMAXs. You got the Rillaboom, Toxicity, which is a huge fan favorite. Lapras, Gen 1 fan favorite. The Center Scorch is probably my least favorite of all the shiny VMAXs. But then you still have the Ditto. The Ditto's, up there in price right now. And then you can't do this video without talking about the big guy, the Charizard. But we're already starting to see such a drop-off in prices. And I haven't opened a lot of Shining Fates myself because I'm just keeping my product sealed and I sold it sealed because my thought process is we're only on wave 1. I think prices will drop in the near term, and with with wave 2, with wave 3, with wave 4, and then eventually maybe after wave 4 we'll start to see the prices creep back up as the supply of Shining Fates starts to evaporate. But right now we're just seeing so much of it come onto the market, and this is the first product I've really seen where I'm starting to notice like the scalpers influence in the prices, because collectors are fine with buying a product. They're not looking at the price so much, they're willing to sit on it. But you can tell when scalpers are really involved because you see a big flood of it hit the market and real quick price slashing because they're racing to the bottom. And don't get me wrong, Shining Fates for an ETB is still holding very strong at the 100 to 110 mark as of the time of this video. Maybe it drops, in a few days when newer people are listening to this video a few days down the line. That's definitely a possibility. But, and then I think back, okay, what was Champion's Path at release? It was a lot of Champion's Path products were selling for, between 70 and 80 bucks. And we always knew Shining Fates would just be the far superior set. Champion's Path only having one Charizard. Shining Fates having, so much going for it and so much hype around everything. And I think about there's always some PSA 10s that hit the market almost right away because people just send the PSA on the fastest turnaround time possible to get their cards the first to market. And hey, I don't hate that. It's a very smart investment strategy for a lot of people. It works out. You see prices for real early PSA 10s. But the problem is I'm seeing so many PSA 10s. And that makes me question, you know, is the quality of this print run so good on the Charizards that we're going to start to see a ton of PSA 10s? And I haven't personally seen enough Charizards pulled yet to really know if that's true. But, I mean, there's a million videos out there on YouTube of people ripping packs. I'm talking a lot of content creators are ripping hundreds of packs. So I was able to watch a lot of those videos to get a pretty good understanding of pull rates. And like I said, the pull rates for a lot of these cards is very, very high. And, anytime you have extremely high pull rates, you're going to have a big flood of those cards hit the market, especially people trying to dump their duplicates and triplicates or just trying to make a quick buck. And, with the real quick price drop in individual singles of cards, eventually the price of the sealed product is going to have to get drawn down with it, because if you're going to buy an ETB at $100, your goal, or at least your hope, is to either break even with that purchase, because again, you're going to be purchasing at the top of the market on the secondary market. Just wherever that market is dictating the price at the moment you buy it, will more or less be the price you normally pay unless you get extremely lucky. But, the goal is that if you do open up enough Shining Fates by opening the sealed product, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to break even or you're going to make money. Nobody wants to open a bunch of Shining Fates and lose money. And to make this video so early in the game with as strong as demand is, it says a lot. And yeah, I'm going out on a little bit of a limb here because the demand for Shining Fates is just so high. But yes, eventually Pokemon will print more, and we might see Shining Fates come in. Yeah, we have 4 waves confirmed, but if the demand's there, it's not out of the realm of impossible for them to do more waves. Look at what happens with Champion's Path. Look at what happened with Hidden Fates. There were a bunch of different waves. Hidden Fates having its own reprint of ETBs and the tins. So, being so early on with Shining Fates, we don't know exactly how many of these cards we'll see hit the market in the long run. But I'm already nervous because normally you're okay with larger print runs if the pull rates are not just super crazy in the pack puller's favor. But that's not what we're seeing. We are seeing it being in the pack puller's favor. And anytime that happens, we're just going to have so many cards hit the market. And when you start to really look at, okay, I only really have a few VMAX shinies in Rillaboom, Toxtricity, Lapras, Center Scorch, Ditto, and Charizard, like I said earlier in the video. That's a pretty easy set to complete if that's what you wanted. If you wanted to just go after some of the big chase cards, kind of excluding the trainers right now, you can do that pretty quickly. And if Charizard ends up being, much easier to pull than I have mentioned in my earlier videos when I said I was under the impression that Charizard's pull rate was 1 in about every 400 packs, the data that's coming out right now, again, all this being super new and, not tons of packs being open yet, so you have a very small sample size, people are talking about the pull rates potentially being as low as 300. And if that's the case, you will start to see a pretty large amount of Charizards start hitting the market. And especially, we don't even know how many Charizards are at PSA right now being graded. It's very rare to see Charizard being the chase card raw hitting the market, because unless the people who are posting raw Charizards are just not great investors or collectors, and they're willing to just take a very low dollar amount for their cards, because The Charizard is definitely going to be a card that you want to have graded because you're going to get the most out of your money for that card. So anybody selling raw copies is wrong, and they shouldn't be doing that. And I just said it. Yeah, don't do that, please. Send your card away for grading. If you're paying enough money to get a bunch of Shining Fates at release, you might as well pay a couple extra bucks to have your Charizard graded immediately, especially if you have the sole intention of selling it. Now, if you don't have the sole intention and you just want to add it to your collection, I don't care what you do with it. Send it for bulk grade and wait a year to get it back, because if that's a card you're going to keep, who cares? But a lot of the other cards in the set, if they don't hold super high dollar amounts, a lot of the value of those cards will eventually get eaten up with grading costs. So, if the only way to make a profit, or, have a good return on your investment for a lot of these is to sell those cards raw, it's a real slippery slope we're seeing with Shining Fate so early on. But we'll see when a lot of these cards come back from grading in a few months, because for the most part, these Shining Fates cards, with the exception of, your big hitter Charizard, they're probably going to go away at bulk grading or economy type turnaround time. So you're going to be looking at, probably a month or two out on a majority of these cards before they come back for grading. So we'll see what the market does in this next few month timeline, and hopefully we see the prices hold strong. But like I said, with the easy pull rates, it definitely makes me nervous for this set. So, I'm just worried about this set for a long-term investment. Don't get me wrong, if you get this set at MSRP, it's going to be a win for you right now, especially this set being so new. Anytime you get it at MSRP, it's definitely going to be a win, and you're going to do fine as long as you get it at MSRP. Where the battle is, or the struggle is going to be on that secondary market. Will people want to pay that inflated secondary market price for sealed product if the single values are so low? And that's what I'm nervous about. And the only way those single values are going to get super low is that huge influx of pull, or chase cards being pulled. And I feel like we're already seeing that so early on in this set. I mean, we're only 4 days in, but I could be wrong. Who knows where the long-term value of a set like this is going to last, being just at the very, very beginning of, the first print run. It's impossible to tell. Only time will tell on this one, but let me know what you guys think. Have you opened any Shining Fates? Have you noticed that the pull rates are a little bit higher than you're used to? Or do you think maybe the opposite, that you don't think the pull rates are good, and thus the price of sealed product and individuals will continue the rise? Or find it, a level medium in the future that is, a price that, commands a lot of money. But either way, hey, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support. If you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. Other than that, please hit the like button. Helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. It's going to let this video available to a lot of other people. But anyways, catch you on the next video.